Hello, I am Endlessness and welcome back to Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and in this video I'd like to share some thoughts on the FF6 banner. And I reviewed all weapons and gear during the original FF6 crossover, so I'm not going to review them in full detail again. However, some weapons and gear got updated and I think it's worth to at least talk about them and this whole banner. If you never pulled on FF6 banners, I honestly think Terra is the weapon that you like to skip the least. Other weapons are good, but I think Terra might just have the widest use, because Aerith is the most popular healer and this weapon allows her to debuff resistance of half of the elements. Sure, in most battles we don't need multiple elements, but that just allows you to use her for 3 different elemental battles, so because of that I think this is a very good utility. But also it's one of those very few weapons that we have in the game that have increased HP points, so it'll be a very good HP sub weapon even when you don't need it for its command ability. Cloud's Locke buffs damage for all 3 elements with high potency for 55 seconds and also costs only 3 AB. And I honestly think this is a big and amazing buff for this weapon, because Cloud has fire, ice and lightning swords, but they are either outdated or very outdated, so this weapon can give him a very nice damage boost. And also, high potency elemental damage buff is 40%, so it's very comparable with exploit weakness that's between 30–40%. Not only that, 1010% physical non-elemental damage for only 3 AB is actually very good, because Zidane is Cloud's strongest non-elemental weapon with 1300% per 4 AB, and while that one hit damage is stronger because the C ability is higher, over time now Locke slightly out DPSs it. Zidane, Bahasword and Locke are very close, but Locke gets the slight advantage thanks to that 3 AB, so it means that it will do some very nice non-elemental damage while buffing your elements. And I honestly think Locke got the best upgrade out of all those FF6 weapons, which it also very much needed. And I also dare to say that this weapon is now actually great, at least until Cloud gets a weapon with exploit weakness, but that won't happen before 2nd year anniversary at least. But for now, I think this is now a very good utility for Cloud. But then again, because how neglected Cloud has been, most people skip Cloud, so it's just for those most dedicated people who still choose Cloud over all the meta. Sabin gloves got also a minor upgrade, and now they boost Tifa's attack with mid potency, because earlier it was low potency per cast, so I would say it's a very minor upgrade that doesn't really change much overall, because now we have so many attack buffing options that it's very unlikely that you'll have Tifa buffing her own attack rather than support or healer doing it. But it's a very nice weapon for Tifa, and one of her only 2 non-elemental physical weapons. The other is Zangan, and C abilities are the same as Zidane and Bahasword. The damage is almost exactly the same, and Sabin targets all characters, so it's actually very good. But we don't have many non-elemental weapons in the game, because it's very rare when we get a non-elemental battle. So while this weapon can be very good, it just won't be used very often. And lastly, there is Edgar, and it didn't get any C ability upgrade, but now it has 62 magic attack ability points, so on Sephiroth it maxes its magic attack and you won't need another magic attack weapon anymore in your sub-weapon slots. Also, Edgar hits very hard and it's an amazing weapon for Sephiroth, especially now that he has exploit weakness. But it's also a very niche weapon because it is very rare when you get a battle where magic war is needed, which might change in the future, but for some reason War Element seems to be very limited in the game. Tifa's Magic Warrior and Sephiroth's Tempest, which is more of a sub-DPS weapon, and also Cloud's Maritime, which is completely outdated, those are the only water weapons that aren't limited. All other hard-hitting weapons are always on those limited banners, and I'm not sure why, but it is what it is. But same as for 2 other FF6 DPS weapons. It's a very nice weapon for Sephiroth that will expand his armory, and he will be a very good Magic Warrior DPS when we get a battle that requires it. So, very good weapon for Sephiroth fans and mains. Otherwise we have Tifa's free and accessible alternative. And sure, her Magic Warrior is a bit weaker, but Tifa still hits very hard. Also, all FF6 outfits have gotten a small upgrade for the defenses, and now they increase both physical and magic defense by 20%, and originally it was 15%. Not bad at all, but I think the best change is here for Sephiroth because it's an Arcanum outfit, so those defenses are an amazing bonus. Meanwhile, Tifa and Cloud got physical ability mastery on their outfits, which is a bit inferior to Elemental Arcanum, so I don't think anyone will want to use those outfits on them instead of Arcanum outfits. And as for Aerith, her outfits has buff debuff extension plus on it, which isn't bad, but her Bahamut outfit is just the best and most versatile, with attack for allies also having defenses increased by 20%, but also 10% heal. It's just too good because we can easily stack buff debuff extension with weapons, so other than Sephiroth's Arcanum, other outfits aren't really bad, but we just have better ones for those characters. But also the stamp cards are very nice, and just by pulling one page you can get those 11 million download medals for some freebies. And just on the first page we have 2 guaranteed copies, and on later pages we have 3 per page. So overall it looks very nice, and I really like the small improvements on the first page, that every banner now has a guaranteed OB1 if you just pull for the outfits. More would be nice, but we have to give them credit for that. And with crossover banner there's also crossover shop, which might be the biggest shop we had so far, because it features all 5 characters from both banners we got this week. But it's standard packs with standard prices, so nothing unusual. But first, those cheap ticket packs. I personally have never bought them, but if you want to gamble for some progress on weapons, go ahead. However, I wouldn't advise buying Tifa or Aerith, simply because it's been almost a year since they got their last featured banner, and in year 2 all they are getting are limited banners, so that means that all you can get from those tickets are old year 1 weapons. But then we have those character weapon packs, and I think those are always good simply because you can get 100 weapon parts from those, and also tickets are just a bonus. But weapon parts are the most valuable resource in the game, and 100 weapon parts is half the overboost, so definitely good if you want to overboost weapons or just stock up for the future. And I also recently noticed that since the Academy event they made some changes to those character packs for $60. Since launch we used to have those double character packs, but now they added 10 purple brands as a bonus. However, the biggest change I have noticed is in those single character packs, and Yuffie is just the newest example, but we already had few of them in previous banner shops. And in the past we'd get only 150 character specific weapon parts, but now they increased it to 200. And also 10 purple brands is a nice bonus. But now those single character packs are even better because you get a full weapon overboost, and if you were to buy such pack and then that red crystal pack, you can get 300 character specific weapon parts now. A very nice improvement. So yeah, that would be all. Like all banners, all weapons and gear are character focused, so it depends if you are going after meta or just like to play with your favorite characters. Then each banner for those characters will add and expand their utilities. But if for the meta, we always get something better in the future, especially DPS weapons, so it's your decision if you want to pull or skip. However, as I mentioned, Terra can have so many uses because of how many utilities Aerith has, so I personally think skipping Terra could hurt you the most, especially if you focus on Aerith, because Aerith is the most popular healer and support. But overall, I'm very happy they updated those weapons and gear, especially Locke, because it really needed it the most. But I also love to hear what you think about those weapons now and those changes they made. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next one.